Okay, so as the New Year's approaching, I thought it might be kind of fun to look at the video that I did last year around this time, talking about my 3 homeschool New Year's resolutions or goals, and kind of evaluate with you how well I've done. Hi, and welcome. Thanks for joining me today. So, I am a homeschool mom of 3 children. I have a preschooler, a kindergartner, and a toddler. And I'm also a homeschool graduate who's having fun from this angle of teaching. It's also a challenge, but it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, last year I did a video about my 3 homeschooling goals for the new year. And I'm not sure how well I've done. I pretty much remember what the goals were, and some of them okay, some of them not as okay. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through them with you today and just talk about it. But warning, I haven't done perfect. As a homeschool mom, we very rarely do perfect. But let's see. I think my first goal is really that I want to incorporate prayer into my day before I start homeschooling. And I don't mean a long, lengthy half an hour time. I mean, I want to take like 1 to 5 minutes before I sit down at the table with my children to pray and to resettle my mind and to think about it. Oh, so praying for my baby kids. It is still a goal I have, and it is still a goal I fall short of. Yeah, I have not done so well as I wanted to, but it is definitely something that I haven't forgotten I wanted to do. I forget in the moment a lot, but not overall. So there are some mornings that I remember, and I am afraid to say those are fewer than the mornings that I don't remember. But it is still something that I really, really want to implement because it helps me get myself into a good attitude and a good frame of mind. It also helps me to remember what my ultimate goal is, and that is that I want my kids to know the Lord and that discipling them is equally as important as educating. Don't worry, I'm not advocating for not educating my kids. I want to educate my kids. But if at the end they don't know the Lord, I have definitely not succeeded entirely. So, yeah, that's definitely something I still desire to work on with my kids. But yeah, homeschool goal one, I would say mostly fail, but not entirely because it hasn't completely gone by the wayside as a goal that I've just completely forgotten. But I definitely haven't done as well as I should have done and as well as I want to continue to work on doing. Okay, next goal. If you're like me and a lot of other homeschool moms I know, it is like it becomes like this habit to buy and see and want the newest, latest, or the next thing, or oh, that looks really good. And I can buy a little bit more than I need. And I can buy things and then I find something else. I'm like, oh, but I like that better. And so my goal for the next chunk of this school year is to really minimize that. Okay, so buying curriculum too far in advance and then finding better sales or buying something that I think I'm going to use and then not using it. So pre-buying sales or not enough sales too far in advance. I've been doing better. I've been doing better. I don't know if I did better all of last year, but I have been doing it better at this year actually. Before even talking about it here, um, I did a video a month or two ago talking about some of the things that I did buy too far in advance and then ended up not using and kind of the pitfalls of over planning, which is kind of my weakness. You can check out the video if you're interested. But I would say as a whole, I've done much better. I'm starting, especially this last couple months, because I'm starting the planning for this coming year. And yes, I do plan in advance. Um, I have books that I want to get, and I've really, really, really been deliberately not doing that. I've been going, nope, nope, we're gonna wait, and I put them on my wish list or in a cart somewhere, so I have the list and I can go buy them when I'm ready. But I'm waiting till I'm ready to actually purchase what I want for next year. So, this goal I would say not perfect, but definitely actually am being more intentional with, and I would say a good step forward in regards to just either waiting for a really good sale if I'm going to buy in advance. It's got to be good. Or making a list or a note that I'm going to buy it and looking for those, but trying not to buy a year in advance. So yeah, I would say this one would be a mostly succeed. Okay, last one, goal three. I have a table in my husband's office, which is also where my homeschool stuff is stored. I have a big bookshelf in there, my homeschool cart. But there's a table that sits in the middle of the room and I just kind of use it to throw stuff on, stuff that I just haven't dealt with, or I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with, or I need to put away, but I haven't gotten to it yet. And all of those library books, the stacks that I've just got, the stacks that are for this subject, the stacks that are for that subject, and the stack that need to go to the library, and the one I thought is cool, but I need to look through still. And it's a mess. and I don't like it. I do not like big piles and big stacks. So I need to think of some sort of system for what's going on that table. Ah, the table in the office. Yes, I remember that table. And it is gone. So yay! But I can't take full credit for that. It was needed in another room for another purpose. I think my husband and I wanted to start puzzling, and that was our movable puzzle as a card table. So we took it out of the office, and I had to find a place for all of my other stuff. So by force, I had to accomplish my homeschool goal. That sounds pretty bad. So it's no longer there. So a lot of the piles that were there get taken care of quicker. I still do have piles in the office, but because they sit on the floor in a box or something of that nature, that's a little more in the way feeling, I do deal with them sooner. And my stacks of library books, I specifically mentioned that. I do still have stacks of library books, but instead of being on the table in the office, they're now on the window seat in the office. In at least, like, I know what the order of stacks are, and I can, like, shut the curtain, so they're hidden. So that feels better to me, even if it's not really better. So with this goal, I would say like half and half. The table's gone. I'm better about moving my piles, but I do still need to come up with a better, more permanent solution for my library books. But not a complete fail because I actually have a thought in mind of how I want to do that. I'm not completely lost anymore. Whereas last year I was like, gosh, this has got to change, but I don't know how I'm going to change it. So 50%. So I would say my first goal, most fail, but not completely because I'm still working on it. Second goal, mostly succeed with some learning curves still happening. Third goal, 50-50. So I did about 50-50 on my homeschool goals. I don't know that that's real good. I'm not going to brag about that, which is a reason I often don't do New Year's goals or resolutions, is because I feel like we think about these things we want to accomplish and then we get stuck in the day-to-day and we forget all about our goals, which isn't a good thing. It's not an excuse not to make goals, because if you never make goals, you'll never have anything to work towards. But make goals that are realistic, goals that are actually things you think you will accomplish and can be faithful in. And I don't think my goals last year were unrealistic. I just didn't give them as much attention as I should have. I need to make some sort of way or marker or something that the goals are in front of me more often. So some note on my bulletin board, that's my homeschooling board, or in my homeschool planner, so that it's something that I follow through with and don't just forget about. But I would love to know if you guys made any homeschooling goals for the last year and how those went for you guys as well, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who did not follow through completely. Um, yeah, we are all very human and busy mothers, and what we want does not always happen. So share below if you have some goals from last year or some goals for this coming year and that you're wanting to accomplish. I'd love to hear what those are. I had not set specific goals for this coming year. I do have goals for each of my children per term. That's kind of how I'm doing it right now. And for me as a teacher, like, I'm starting to jot those down in my planner, but I didn't set like goals for the entire year. So there you have it. But yeah, I would love to know if you guys have some.